Today we're going to be talking about a $30 entry-level Indian whiskey in the Paul John Nirvana. This one's typically used for mixing, but let's see how it holds up drinking it neat. Hello everybody and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary. I've already talked about Paul John quite a few times on this channel, and every time I do, I really like their stuff. But for the sake of brevity of this video, if you're interested in learning more about them, check the link up there and you'll go through the whole distillery, their history, all of their different expressions, all that stuff. But for this particular whiskey, let's go ahead and talk about some of their metrics. So this was first released in 2019, but you'd be hard pressed to find it in the States before 2020. It's at 40% ABV or 80 proof. It's a no-age statement whiskey, but it's aged in second fill bourbon barrels and virgin oak barrels. Its mash bill is 100% malted barley, but specifically the 6-row barley that they use commonly. Natural color, it is chill filtered, but its MSRP is $30. All right, let's go ahead and get into the nosing and the tasting. So, if you go ahead and pour, and give this a little bit of a nose, maybe swirl it around a little bit. Smells like Teen Spirit. Sorry. All right. So, something that I don't often suggest here is that not only should you try to smell it from the Glencairn, but you should try to smell it from the bottle too, because there's something different going on here that I honestly don't really ever do or think about. But there's almost this effervescence that comes from the bottle. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's the rising of the alcohol vapors in a more contained spot or something like that. But something that when I nose this, I smell oranges. And when I nose it from here, I smell like champagne. And the two kind of go together to form a bit of a mimosa, right? It's how you get these complex nosing notes or whatever it is that you combine very basic ideas and you put them together and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Vanilla, creamy, vanilla ice cream, right? Things like that. So in this case, I am smelling a mimosa, but it's not quite right. There's something more to it, and it's because this is a little bit more of a complex whiskey. When you smell this, if you've ever had a blood orange mimosa, that's what it is, without a doubt. So moving past that, though, let's kind of dig a little bit deeper. In this case, actually a little bit more simple. This is very sweet, and it's very fruity, right? Put those two together. In my mind, when I smell this, I'm smelling that syrup that comes from fruit cocktail in a can, right? So when you pour that out, it's definitely got a taste and it's definitely got a smell. And that is similar to this. It's very candied. It's very sweet. It's very fruity. Now, underneath all of that, kind of at this base layer, is honey. Again, very sweet. But there's a richness to it that is pretty good. All that from a $30 whiskey. So, all right, let's go ahead and have a taste. Cheers. There's a note that is pervasive through all of Paul John, the ones that are unpeated anyway, because those kind of just overlay it. But the unpeated Paul John whiskeys all have this creaminess to them. And in this case, it's initially that creaminess, but then there's a bite at the tip of my tongue that reminds me that this is a very young whiskey. It's not a bad one. I've certainly had a lot worse. But that bite is something to be aware of. It's going to remind you that this is a $30 whiskey, and that this is only a couple of years old, and that this was aged in second fill bourbon barrels. So that's something to know. Now, when I have a sip of this, other than that initial bit, which does fade, you're getting honey for sure. But then you're also getting malt coming from that 6-row malt, right? The malted barley. This is one of the more prevalent flavors to me. It gives body to the whiskey. So let's go ahead and have another taste. Now, lastly, keeping in line with the nose here, it is fruity, and specifically citrus fruits. It's got lemon and it's got orange. So to me, this is a pretty good whiskey, right? Now, something I did that I actually will admit I don't do nearly enough. I used my own whiskey dictionary to try to help me pick out the flavors here, because I wanted to, I knew that because this is an inexpensive whiskey, it's not very old, I was a little bit worried I wouldn't really pick out anything very complicated. And I can honestly say by using this, I did. I'm not going to bore you with too much of it, but like it's it's very helpful to have that radar graph. I find that to be the best part of this book, and it helps me to concentrate on individual tastes. For example, like concentrate on the body. Does it have any dark fruits, citrus, floral, herbal, nutty, malty, etc., etc.? And you can think about each one of those things individually as you're nosing and you're tasting, and it will help you to get better at doing this. A lot of you guys ask me in the comments, how do I get better at this? I hate to pitch my own stuff. Buy the book. Like, it's really, really good for that. Anyway, all right. So, moving along. What is my overall on this? So, I'm pretty excited. I'm actually a little bit more excited than I thought I would be while filming this. And it's because I'm realizing that this is a pretty good value. Now, yes, this is not going to blow your socks off completely. It's something interesting. It's something unique. And it's a very easy entry point into Indian whiskeys. Now, here's the thing. If you have some money and you actually want to spend it on an Indian whiskey, go for something more like the classic select cask. It's the green tin. But if you only want to spend $30 just to see if you kind of like some of the notes, you're going to get some of them in here. Just keep in mind that it's not everything that Indian whiskey has to offer, but it's pretty good. You're going to get a sense of the Goa region of India. All right, so let's see what you guys thought. Now, as expected, not a ton of people have had this. So 4% said to stock it, 6% said to buy it, 8% said to try it, 4% said to ignore it, and 78% have never had it. Now, that means out of 80% of the people who have actually had this, out of 100% of the people who have actually had this, 80% of those people think that you need to have this whiskey in your possession or at least try it. And I think that that's fair. I actually think those numbers are totally fair. So let's see a couple more comments that you guys did. So Pruef Whiskey said, if you can get it on sale, buy it. Otherwise, try it first. It won't blow your mind, but it's something different. Thrifty Whiskey, which is a newer YouTube channel, for the price and the talking piece, it will be. I give it a buy it. Our blind review did not flatter it, but I also think our context for that review may have thrown it off. And Paul Nelson says, it's all right, but nothing special. Try it before you buy it. So I think just based off the price, don't try it before you buy it, at least not in my mind, because you're going to spend $6 to $8 getting it at a bar, and the bottle itself is $30. You get way more for that. But, you guys do whatever you want. I think I forgot to give it my actual rating. My actual rating of this is between a buy it and a try it too, but because of what I just said, I'm going to just make it a buy it. So for $30, this is great, for real. And you should be able to find it in your area. It definitely used to be a lot more rare, but now you should be able to get it. All right. Thank you guys for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary. I have a great episode for you guys lined up next week, and I think you're going to love it. So have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.